This is the Hear Him Out Show, a show we created for men to be heard where women are welcome to listen. Yo, what's good, beautiful people? This is your boy Monty, aka Mr. Motivation.
And I am Shakim. Blessings.
And this is the Hear Him Out Show, a place we created for men to be heard where women are more than welcome to listen.
Our main aim is to speak truth, add value, and offer a perspective that gives you the potential to just lead to some growth and elevation.
Woo. Yo, we got a good episode.
Yeah.
So this episode is entitled Boys to Men. All right, now pause, okay? Before y'all talk about, oh my God, this is so corny.
Mm-hmm. It's about the singing group.
Right. Shout out to Boys to Men.
Yeah.
But no, it's one boy, two men. So there's been this conversation that you probably hear oftentimes on the internet, on social media, about what it is to be a man.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, oddly enough, a lot of women are kind of leading that conversation online, G.
Yeah, it's absurd.
Facts, hear him out. Okay.
Yeah.
And now, ladies, your opinions are validated and all that, but I oftentimes feel like it comes from the perspective of what a real man is, as it's this, how you treat me, how you provide for me, how you protect me. So a lot of these conversations that women are leading, it's based off of not the man himself. Not his growth,
marvelous.
not his maturation, not who he's going to become, not him living up to his highest self, his highest potential, but what he can do for me, how he treats me. I've had homegirls talk about I've had homegirls literally talk like, oh my God, he ain't no real man. Just because he didn't want you. That doesn't mean that's what it is. So we're going to get into it. But before we get into it, there's something we like to do here a little differently. So if you're listening, appreciate it, but go ahead and go to that YouTube page so you get to see what we're doing. But we like to do two things here before we really get into the heaviness of the episode. We like to clear the space and we like to set the stage. As artists, speakers, and poets and lyricists and all these things, it's important that we put ourselves in a position to give you the very best of us. So what we're gonna do right now, we're about to clear the space. How we gonna do that, Shakim?
I want to play the handpan. This has been a very divinely masculine instrument for me, so feel it.
Shay. Ooh, all right. So that's my dude. My brother's talented as hell, y'all. All right, so now we got to set the stage. As a motivational speaker, I always have to get myself lined up and in tune with a higher frequency. I always have to elevate myself if I'm going to inspire the masses, right? And the one thing I like to do, there's this activity I do on stage. It's called I'm the Shit. And this is a way to get your confidence up to a certain level. Because I truly believe if you don't have belief in your skills and in yourself, there's no way you can perform at your highest potential, right? So I like to say I'm the shit, and this is something to get your confidence to a new level. So I'm the shit because I showed up here today after just a couple hours of sleep of being a new dad with my twins up all night, even though I felt like I wanted to cancel. I'm the shit because we're in this transitional phase and we still showing up and we still showing out. And I'm the shit because we here, we giving of ourselves, even when we feel like we ain't got a lot to give on this day.
Shade,
all right, so let's get into it, yo. All right, so the episode, Boys to Men. One boy, two men. So let's set the stage real quick, okay? Let's talk about the boy. It's a beautiful stage in life, right? It's a stage we all have to go through. It's an important stage, right? I feel like as a boy, this is where you get to make all the mistakes.
Yeah.
This is where you get to mess up. This is where you get to experiment. This is where you start to learn who you are. And from those mess ups, from those losses, from those mistakes, you get the lessons. And with those lessons comes the wisdom. And that wisdom is what allows us to evolve into men. Now, the only scary thing about the boy stage is it's temporary. In order to be the man, a boy has to die. And I think this is what a lot of people get afraid of, right? So let's talk about the two men. The first man This is the man I don't think we want to be, but we see it out there. We're going to dive into the episode a little bit. This is the hybrid. It's the boy man, the man child, however you want to say it, right? This is the one who's afraid to leave his boyish ways. This is the kind of man who handles his responsibilities sometimes, lives up to expectations sometimes, is accountable for his actions sometimes. But when the pressure is put on him, he crumbles. And I think we see a lot of men like that. And the crazy thing is, y'all, I feel like that's a transitional space.
Yeah, it is.
I know when we get 18 or we get 21, we're like, oh, I'm a man now. Man, we're going to share some stories, but like, you know it. Yeah. You know it intuitively when you stepped your game up, but it's not an age thing. You don't become a man when you hit this certain age, right? Now, you become a man. This is our perspective, y'all. Okay, so just hear me out. This is just our unique perspective. You become a man when you allow that boy to die. Amen. Right? The kind of man you want to be is the one who steps up and handles his responsibilities at all times, who takes accountability for his actions at all times, who not only lives up to the expectations of those around him, but exceeds them, therefore making him exceptional. This is the man who looks at his boyhood stage and doesn't miss it, but appreciates it, sees the lessons, sees the wisdom. And I think this is the man we are all attempting to become, right? And this is a segment of the show we're gonna introduce to y'all, but it's like start one, bench one, cut one. We're gonna start that second dude. We're gonna bench the second one, and we cutting the boy because we're not boys no more. That stage in life is over. It was fun, it was cool, but we can't be the man we're supposed to be if we still have that mindset. Make sense?
Yeah, I respect that. I would say the man child is super tricky, bro. It's super tricky because the man child has all the energy in the world, but no wisdom whatsoever.
Oh, hold up, pause, hold up. Hear him out. Say that again once more.
Yeah, they say the young men have all the energy and no wisdom, and the old men have all the wisdom and no energy. And if we could find a way to synthesize the two, we could really become superhuman, because when we're between 18 and 25, like you said, it's not an age thing, but I remember mine was between like 18 and 27.
Right.
And the main characteristic of that age was pride. I didn't want to be wrong. I hated the idea of being wrong. And so I participated in a lot of things that didn't enable me to transcend into my full manhood. So I had all the energy to play. So start a nigga. You can start me because I'm going to give you all the energy. I'm going to be all hard.
Yo.
But when it comes time for that winning shot, I promise you I'm not going to hit it between 18 to 27.
Yo.
Because I swear I know everything and I haven't put the reps up yet.
And you said something I want to comment on. You said the pride to never want to be wrong.
Yeah.
And I can vibe with that because now if y'all out there in the comments section, okay, let me know. Keep it 100. Put facts or 100 in the comment section if you agree with this. My pride manifested in the sense of I never wanted to be wrong like you. Therefore, I put myself in situations that I could never be wrong. I would date below my level so I could never be wrong. I would be around people that I naturally, I don't know, was more attractive than, had a little more money or whatever. So I would always put myself in positions to make sure I'm the man. I got to feel like I'm the man. By lowering the bar and the standard.
Oh, that's tricky. Oh, what a horrible phase, man. During that time, I will say that there was characteristics that I do participate in now, which is I was contending all the time. I was contending religion. I was contending perceptions of love. I was contending business ideologies, everything. And the true truth is that I think men do have an inextricable relationship with contending, because we go and we develop our truths in the dark somewhere in some cave, and then it doesn't really mean anything until you go out in life and prove them. Go have a conversation with somebody, or really you learn in relationships. Go with a woman, see if that ideology holds water. The man-child phase is really, I think, transcended when you can do that with no attachment to the outcome.
Oh, hold up. Repeat that slower real quick.
So we're in the man-child phase.
Okay. Which, by the way, it's not a negative.
Yeah.
Right? It's only a negative if you stay in that. It's a transitional phase. So I'm not clowning anybody who's in that stage, because I feel like before you become the man that lives up to their highest potential, you have to go through that. But that should be a very fleeting stage.
Yeah, it's fleeting. I think it's the applied knowledge phase, and you have to be okay with that knowledge being completely inaccurate. Applied knowledge, because when you transition out of it, the applied knowledge ends up turning into wisdom, the wisdom of the man. So I think that no matter what, you do have to develop some truths And in the process of developing those truths and taking on whatever apprenticeship you would, yours was acting, mine was martial arts, meditation, music, all these things. And you have to be okay, in my case, martial arts, with getting fucking punched in the face. You can't practice a block in your room all the time and then go out in the world and say, I'm a martial artist. I'm Bruce Lee now. Like, no, you're not. Not until someone tries to punch you in the fucking face.
Hear him out. Hear him out.
And you contend your truth with that person. So the Manchild phase with me had a lot to do with getting punched in the fucking face. And then when I realized over and over again through repetition, I say, oh, okay, I was doing that wrong. I need to make an adjustment. I need to refine my perspective of life. That is a little like death to a little piece of your pride every time you admit that you're wrong. Ooh. And when I tell y'all it's a superpower, there's a lot of men I know still in that phase in their 30s. And if y'all niggas don't grow out of that now, it's going to be a hard lesson. You're going to learn it no matter what. Might as well just get it over with now, get punched in the face now, and transition now. Yeah.
Yo, it's so necessary. When I moved to LA about 12 years ago, right? I got punched in the face emotionally, spiritually. Almost got punched in the face riding in them damn LA buses physically, but that's a different conversation, right? But like, I come from poverty, so I grew up homeless, right? And then I went to college. I got 2 college degrees. So here I am with 2 college degrees, all the intelligence, all the youth, all the fervor, right, in the world, and yet I'm sleeping on couches. I had to live in a men's homeless shelter in a halfway house for 6 months. You talk about testing your pride. You talk about like getting punched in the face. That was so instructional and hard. But I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a man, I'm doing this. You don't feel like no damn man when you're sleeping on the couch.
You don't.
When you're sleeping in the car. When you calling all your friends and family who are doing a traditional route that's not the way of the artist to get money for rent. Because LA is expensive as hell, right? And that was a very important phase to like humble me.
Bro, I was just about to say, humility is an interesting part of the man-child phase. Now, you're telling me on a daily basis, stop being humble, but that's because I've transitioned out of that phase now. And with the wisdom, it's time to apply the wisdom to receive our abundance. But in the man-child phase, humility, the humility of saying, damn, I don't know everything, and I really got to put a T-shirt over this window so nobody sees me sleeping in this car. I used to hate sleeping in my car. And I never told my mom that I was sleeping in there because I didn't want to be the nigga going back to my mother's couch. So I was in my little Mitsubishi praying nobody walks by that I know. T-shirts over the window. We know what that's like. That takes that's basically you saying, damn, I don't know everything. If I knew everything, I probably wouldn't be sleeping in the fucking car.
Yo, and I cannot tell you how important that is, because from those lessons, I'm gonna talk about a woman's perspective on some stuff, but on that, from those lessons. So I'm blessed right now, right? So I'm making a living off of my acting. I'm making a living off of my speaking. Well over 6 figures a year.
Let's go, motivation. Let's go. This nigga be motivating me, man. Let's go.
It ain't bragging. It's just facts, right? But it took me being broke, being in debt to understand how to move now, right? And in LA, it's really easy out here, especially when you're the dude and you're trying to be the man and you're trying to be him, and you see how people move. You see the cars, you see the materialism, and you see how that materialism attracts a certain type of female. You oftentimes want to move in that way. And I have friends who, got a little money here and there. Maybe they booked a commercial, and now they trying to move a certain way that's not really in alignment with their higher self. And then you get caught up in spending all this money, and cats end up right back where they were at. And the one thing I will credit myself, and the thing I'm most proud of, is every year I have improved and progressed living in LA. Every year I didn't take steps back. I have phases where it's like, okay, this is a rough patch, and if I don't take the lessons from this, my ass will end up back there. But by sleeping in the car, sleeping in a men's homeless shelter, I used to have to clean my acting class to afford it. There was no way I could afford $300 a month for acting class. So I made a deal with my teacher. I will clean the class. I will clean the bathroom in order to sit in and audit the damn classes. You talk about humbling yourself, y'all. Woo. Yo.
Man, respect, bro.
Man. Yo.
Respect.
Yo.
I love that idea. I love that, bro. I think that type of sacrifice and apprenticeship and dedication to a craft is what a man needs. I'm not a woman, so I can't speak on women.
Facts.
I heard somebody say the other day, this isn't my opinion. Again, we always are perpetuating this idea that we don't know everything. We're just 2 guys who are figuring it out and displaying it in the process. But a clinical psychologist was saying this the other day, that women are born with inherent value because they can propagate the species. So they are selecting which way the species is going. So they already have inherent value just by being a woman because you can give birth. Whereas men have to go find the value to present to the woman to see, is this value worth propagating? Then choose me. And so during the it's an inextricable part of life. So during the process of finding and fleshing out that value and purpose, I think the man-child phase is going to be transcended. If you don't have anything to focus your energy on to move through, you're just kind of a feather in the wind. So do something, bro. Even if it's fucking plumbing and cleaning floors, if it's fucking flipping pancakes.
It doesn't matter.
Whatever it is.
It doesn't matter.
Do it with fucking pride and do it with fucking honor. Not pride, I'm sorry. Do it with some honor.
Yeah, and on that real quick, we're going to take a little veer off real quick. Ladies, okay? I hear this all the time online. I'm going to go in real quick. Hear me out, all right? When they talk about, oh, man ain't this, man child. This is the kind of man you're talking about.
Yeah.
When you try to group all the men who are these boy men and these man childs and stuff,
for distinction.
Understand, this is a stage. And you got to look at yourself, ladies. Hey, forgive me, but hear me out. You got to look at yourself. Why am I attracted to that? Why am I attracting that kind of man? Because that's a transitional phase. Now, I don't know the man-child equivalent to a woman.
But I will say we don't know the equivalent, but there is one.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening is that people are
so
simply,
talk about that. Yo, let me just,
because people are, the true truth is that my homie said this the other day. He said, look back on every relationship you've been in, and when you look at the woman you're with, you'll see the man you were.
Oh, hold up, pause. Say that again. Yo, get a close up. Say that.
That's tricky. Because I had to face this too. If you look back on the partner that you were with, you'll see a reflection of who you were. And so it's okay to just take that. It's bitter. It's disgusting. It's horrible. And then just swallow the fact that a lot of people are in transitional phases. When I'm having conversations with a lot of these women, I'm blessed to be able to train a lot of women, hold space with a lot of women. I'm around a lot of beautiful, strong women.
And this is facts. This is also my trainer, and there's so many dope ass chicks, so many dope ass women.
Yeah, man.
Beautiful inside and out, like really dope collective of women.
Yeah, bro.
You surround yourself with.
Like queens for real. And the true truth is they'll tell you that they're still trying to figure out what love really is, what sacrifice means, what God really is. I asked a woman the other day, this is a 30-something-year-old woman, who she believes God to be, and her answer was all over the place because she's in a transitional phase. So really, I think all humans go through it. Men catch a lot of flack for it because when a woman is impacted negatively by this man in his transitional phase, it just pierces him really, really deeply. And I understand that that's horrible. Right. So men, we got to get it together. We don't need to be no man child at 30-something years old. We got to figure this out and keep the shit fucking rolling.
And that's facts. So we got a question here, okay? And I want to hit you with this, all right? And also, thank y'all for everybody who's vibing. If you're listening, we appreciate it. If you're watching us, we appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you tap in. Make sure you share, leave a comment. We want to hear it, okay? Trolls, we invite you trolls too, okay? We want to hear it all. Yeah. But what characteristics must be left behind once manhood comes? Like, because I know there's I mentor a lot of young men, right? So I'm about to go speak at a college in a couple of days, and I always get these young men that come up, and they're like, just asking all these different questions. And so I think some of them that might be listening, this is important. What characteristics must we leave behind once manhood comes? Like, just give me something off the top of your head for you.
There's two off the top of my head. Number one is you got to let go of the idea that you're right all the time. Because if you're right all the time, that means that you're not really out in the world receiving true truth about the things that you think you believe in. And you can think that you know something, and you can base your whole life on it, all of your decisions, all your intentions. And when that thing is pulled out from under you and you have nothing, then it's going to be a very, very tumultuous experience of building yourself back up. So you might as well just accept now that there may be one or two things that you know to be absolute truth. And the majority of the things that you believe you know are subject to refinement.
And on that, just to kind of put a cherry on top of that, this is a quote I always use. Every environment is a classroom. Every person you meet is a teacher. So if you move like that, what can I learn from somebody? Even if I watch a lot of people, and I'm at the phase of my life where I'm very rooted in who I am and I'm improving, but I learn what not to do oftentimes. There's not so many people that I really look up to in a sense of like, oh man, I gotta learn from you. But it's more so I'm watching the people that are moving opposite of the way I want to.
Yeah.
Like, how can I learn from that in this environment? How is this environment a classroom? What is this doing to my energy? So I think moving like that also, that's a different level. That's going into manhood.
Yes.
You're like, you know what? I know enough to know I don't know much.
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah.
Oh man, I will say the other thing that you have to let go of is the expectation of being perfect. Oof. I think that a lot of the time we're being prideful or we're pretending to be right. It's because men never want to look like they don't know something, because you never want to look like you're vulnerable. And being vulnerable in the wild means that you could be hunted and blah, blah, blah.
Hear him out.
So, just if you can let go of that. And the main thing I would say is balance. I keep these on all the time because this is the primal man and this is the illumined man, and you can't be one without the other. You can't defend your household and not know how to use the discernment, the godly discernment. You can't have the godly discernment and not know how to defend your household. So if you could just find a balance of both and constantly refine it, then there'll be a bridge in between the two that's always holding you in a formidable space.
Yo, I don't have too much to add to that, but if I want to take a stab at it, right? Some of the characteristics I left behind within my manhood, my maturation, I should say, was really, I guess you could call it people pleasing, right? I always, because I grew up poor, because I was the oldest of 3 boys, because I had to take care of my siblings, I'm always trying to take care of people, right? And that led to me always saying, yes, I got you, yes, I got you, overextending myself. And I was like, part of the maturation of becoming a man, from our perspective, okay?
Yeah.
You're gonna have people, who are y'all to say what a man is? This is our perspective. I like it, change, okay?
Yeah.
But part of it was prioritizing.
Yeah.
Right? I got to prioritize. I can't be there for everybody.
Yeah.
And a lot of my family's been in and out of jail, struggle with drugs and stuff. And I'm the successful one in my family. So a lot of my family comes to me, but I got a family of my own now. So now I was like, I can't do that. And part of the maturation of going into your own as a man is understanding, having your priorities in order.
Ooh, man.
This is what is important to me. All the other stuff, if I get the opportunity, if I get the time, I'll deal with it.
Yeah.
But otherwise, no, because I ain't got time. I'm on this journey to become the highest version of myself. I don't have time for this other frivolous shit.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things I had to learn is like, okay, no is a complete sentence.
Man, bro.
And it's
No is a
powerful.
complete sentence. I'm not going to lie. I'm still learning that one. Man.
I mean, it's constantly, I'm learning you talking about not always being right.
Man, that shit is buck, bro. I'm telling, when I really be, especially with women, because in the back of a man's mind, he believes he's supposed to be leading the woman all the time. So when it's her time to teach us something, you just want it to be wrong so bad. But they be having shit to tell you, man. If we just listen, bro, they're telling you exactly. Sometimes, not all the time. A lot of the women I know in this transitional phase don't know how to communicate yet. And that's a whole episode that we're going to talk about later. The idea of communication isn't key. Clarity and comprehension is key. So we know that. But in most cases, if you just watch a human, if you just watch an animal, if you watch anything, it'll show you what it needs if you're willing to pay enough attention and if you're willing to ask the right questions.
All right. So this next point we want to make, it's more something I wrote a while ago, actually, when a young man I believe I spoke at Kansas State University, right? It was it was in Texas, and it was a young black men's conference, right? And it was super dope. And one of the dudes was like, "Yo, man, what's it to be a man? Like, what does it mean to be a man, or how do I become a man?"
So
and I gave him a long answer and all that. And later on, I wrote this down, and I hope this makes some sense. So y'all just vibe with me on this, okay? The boy becomes a man when the little boy heals. The man becomes a good man when he learns how to give and receive love unapologetically. The good man becomes a great man when he learns to live for something greater than himself. So for me, when we talk about what a man is or whatever, it's a fluid conversation, and it's really determined by you. You have to decide. But for me, I'm like, okay, if I'm not a boy anymore, I healed a lot of my wounds. Cool. That's part of becoming a man. I want to be a good man. Oh, I know how to receive and give love, right? Okay, I want to be a great man. you got to live for something greater than yourself, because now you're talking about legacy. Now you're talking about leaving something. You're talking about putting all the pride, all the childish shit to the side. So that's what it means for me.
That's beautiful.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Oh man, that's beautiful, and it's such a strong question. I've literally watched a master teacher named Phil Valentine talk about what it means to be a man. The lecture was probably 6 hours long because it's such a layered question, and the fact that, like you said, a lot of the women are leading the dialectic is leading us to damnation. Anyway, it's to damnation, because this book speaks about a marvelous psychological book by Robert Johnson. He talks about how in every woman is the animus and in every man is the anima. And the anima is the idea of what the divine feminine is within a man's psyche, and the animus is what it means to be divine masculine in a woman's psyche. So most women are taking a picture of a man that they have in their head that would be ideal and projecting it out into the world without the proper information and life experience to even know how that would be sustainable and efficient. So a lot of times they are projecting an animus, and we are then attempting to live up to their animus, and it is absolutely unsustainable. So I think your definition is something rational. It's conclusive. It's a checklist. It's something tangible. You know?
Yeah, and one thing, when I was like, writing that stuff, I was just like, the specifics, the details are going to change per person.
Yeah,
your age, your culture, right? Like, I'm a great dad, but also had my kids in my mid-30s when I have my shit together, when I am the man I want to be, when my financial situation is good, when I know how to communicate with my lady. Like, that's different from if I would have had some stuff when I was younger.
Nigga, if I would have had kids at 24, bro, the world would be a worse place, for sure. I would be adding negativity to the world, and I knew that, so I didn't. I want to add to yours by saying that I would say, along with what you said in a meta sense, that being a man or being divine masculine in any way, a man being the seed and a woman being the womb, is that a man is that which plants a seed and brings forth life in an abundant way, in an efficient way, in a sustainable way, like the sun will bring forth life in a sustainable way.
Okay.
So if a woman is compared to the moon in most indigenous cultures, and the sun is compared to a man in most indigenous cultures, I would say that a man is that seed that implants life energy. We know that because when a good man shows up in a woman's life, her whole shit changes. When a woman is being shown up for and a nigga listening to her,
all the thirst traps are gone.
Yeah, all the you're not even posting that shit no more.
You know if she's in a good relationship.
What?
All the thirst.
Her skin is clearing up. She's walking taller. You know, nigga. One time we was at Bo Staff and one of my homegirls walked up. She had a completely different walk. When she showed up, I said, "Hey, what the?" She said, "Don't say anything." I was like, "You're getting your back blown out. What happened?" She said, "We'll talk after class." I'm like, wow. I can see it all on y'all. Y'all's whole, it's beautiful. You just look replenished and rejuvenated.
All jokes aside, it is really beautiful to see, because you see that with a dude. You see a calmness. You see, because we like dogs out in the public. We share. You know what I mean? Like, oh damn, you see that? That's how we move. But it's a little more restrained. It's a little more, I ain't gonna look at that. I ain't gonna do this, because you have somebody who's helping you, who's helping ground you. Yeah. So I love that. I love that. The idea of the sun and the moon. We're gonna tap into that. So my dude, he's the spiritual one of the group. I'm the fool. He's the spiritual one. He's gonna take it deep, okay? I'm gonna bring it to the surface to make it, palatable. He's gonna take it deep so you can ponder on it.
We need all that. We need all of it.
But and the last point we want to make before we get into our segment of the day, real quick. You talked about earlier when we were off camera, lacks of rites of passages that has blurred lines. Let's speak on that real quick.
Well, a rites of passage, back in the day, a rite of passage was a door in which a boy walked into and a man walked out of, and there was no more blurred lines. And so you hear a lot about how, the 300 would go, that they would be taken out into the forest in the middle of the night. They would be snatched from their mothers, taken out to the forest. They'd be given a small little list of rules and how to survive. They'd been trained up to this point. And if you make it back home, then you're a man. And you're a man in your head because of the journey you just went through. Nowadays, it's ideological. So we go through our apprenticeship. We go through our, some people call them dark nights of the soul. You go through this long journey through which you went to the forest, found your truth, survived it, and then came back with an abundance of awareness. But back in the day, it was a definitive line. And so I had a beautiful experience of that. I was doing ayahuasca one night.
I gotta do that one day. Oh,
It was a beautiful experience, man. And in my specific one, even though the shaman was from Colombia, amazing shaman named Martin, we had more black people in the ceremony than Latino.
Wow.
And he was speaking on the fact that he thought that was so incredible because the black people in Colombia, he said, don't really practice the Aya ceremony.
Wow.
So he was like, it's beautiful that y'all are here to participate in this. So when it was time to do the blessing, there's a part of the night, it's a long, dark night, and a part of the night is called the blessing, where you go forth and you get blessed and showered by the keepers of the land. Talk about all the details of that one day. But when I went up there, it was me and two other black men. One of them was my brother, Daryl.
Wow. Okay.
My brother, Daryl. And I get to experience this rite of passage right here. He says, what is it? What is your name and when's your birthday? It's time to transcend who you were and step into who you will be.
Oof.
And he said, what's your name? I didn't say my birth name. I said my name that I chose, said Shakim. He says, what's your last name? I was like, I don't have a last name. He was like, okay, you realize what you're doing? I said, yes, I'm stepping into this and I'm never looking back. All of the ways that I used to abide by are now transcended into something new. And I stepped into that. It was a beautiful, dark, very tumultuous experience. But when I came out the next morning, I knew that I was a new man. And if we don't have these rites of passage, we have to be aware of why men are so confused. It's because most men are driving the cars of a grown up and wearing the clothes of a grown up and have the bank account of a grown up, but they still have the psyche of a boy. And we wonder why women are falling for the trick. It's because you're falling for a boy playing dress up as a man. They haven't had their rite of passage to really recognize that they are a man now.
Yo, I'm gonna challenge us right now. This is off script. I'm gonna challenge us as we continue to grow this space and we continue to expand on this platform, to create our own rites of passage in a way so that we can have something. Because as you're saying this, I was like, damn, every rite of passage I thought was the rite of passage ain't it. Having a kid, now you're a man, you got a kid. No, I know a lot of cats who become worse off after that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Getting a little money. No, that's not it. It's like, for me, the only thing, like I mentioned earlier, it's when you begin to live for something greater than yourself.
Yes.
But I want us to really come up. We're gonna do a workshop with that. We're gonna do some kind of rites of passage workshop.
Yes.
As we grow and we create some stuff that really counts as a rites of passage. Because you got a lot of spiritual, deep stuff that you've done. I got a lot of practical, real world experience.
We're gonna put them together.
We're gonna put that shit together. So we're gonna put a pin in that real quick.
Yeah.
So something we like to do here at the Hear 'Em Out Show is we like to have a segment. In today's segment, we got a couple. We got a double header. Okay.
Double header.
We're gonna do the unpopular opinion, and what's the other one?
And we have the men's mental health tip.
Yeah, so let's start with the unpopular opinion. Now, fellas, hear me out on this, okay? Unpopular opinion. Just because you're the man of the house don't make you the man of the house.
Man.
Just because you're the man in the house doesn't make you the man of the house. And I'm talking about leadership. There are a lot of women out there that I personally know that are very capable leaders. And in reality, they are the leaders. They are the breadwinners. They do set the mood. They do set the culture of the house.
Yeah.
And now I know this is not popular. That's why we call it an unpopular opinion. There's gonna be somebody in there, y'all trying to take us back to the Stone Age, but I do believe in roles. Not roles that you have to take, but roles that you agree to. And I believe it is important for the man to be the leader of the house. Now, if you and your lady has a different arrangement, that's dope. But for me, I'm definitely the leader of my household. Why? Because I've earned that. I make sure that the bills are paid. I make sure that the family is protected. I make sure that everything I do, my family comes first. And then I make sure I get what's left over. And everything I do now to pour into myself, whether it's working out, whether it's praying, meditating, to keep my mental health in a good place, it's so that my family gets the best version of me. Because if you guys follow the podcast, if you guys follow the show, one thing we talk about is self-love. And I believe self-love is the best love because it's all about becoming the best version of yourself, because the people you love deserve the best version of you. Your family deserves the best version of you. And I think as a man, being a leader is the best version, which you mentioned earlier, how, when you train women in both staff and they come in and they walk in different. Why? Because she found a dude that's allowed her to be comfortable, that's allowed her to be secure, that's allowed her, trigger warning, to submit. Because she knows this dude has her best interests at hand. So the unpopular opinion today is, just because you're a man don't make you a leader. You got to go earn that. If your wife, if your lady, your baby mama, whatever you want to say, if they're outperforming you in every way, if they're bringing more to the table in every way, they are the leader, bro. Not you.
Yeah, bro.
All right.
Shit. Hey, man. And the men's mental health tip of the day is self-talk. To me, self-talk has got me through a lot of things. It's helped me with a lot of transitions. It's helped me change my perspective of myself. trying to change your external life experience without changing your internal perspective of yourself is impossible. That's the equivalent of looking in the mirror and trying to pretend like you got a Louis coat on in the reflection, and in real life you got on a Marshall's coat. You can't change the reflection without changing yourself that's looking in the reflection. So changing your internal perspective of yourself is going to change your external circumstances. And I think a lot of people are trying to change the external circumstances without putting in that internal work. So one of the ways that I do that is by talking to myself, because
Facts.
I don't have, or I didn't have, a lot of people to lift me up verbally for a really long time. So after a long day, I did my meditation. I trained 4 people. I went and trained myself. I showed up to MDS class. I went and did my studies. I read my 30 pages, blah, blah. At the end of the day, I say, man, I'm proud of you, Shakim. Boy, I look in the mirror and look myself in the eyes and don't blink. Don't look away. Look yourself in the eye and say, man, I'm proud of you. I like how you show up, man. You a strong motherfucker, man. When I'm talking to myself in the gym, niggas tell me all the time, damn, nigga, you sound crazy. Because I'm lifting that weight and I'm saying, Ashe, nigga, thank you, God, for the power. Nigga, Shakim, you a strong motherfucker, man. So talk to yourself and convince yourself of what it is that you want to be, because you're going to be that best version of your motivational speaker if you talk to yourself. So self-talk, affirmations that you really mean.
And that's so important. Just to put a little button on that, I literally got a mantra or affirmation, however you want to say, fuck good, be great, right? I believe God has blessed me with a lot of skills to be good naturally at the things that I like, but I'm not meant to be good. I'm meant to be great. You're meant to be great. So when I'm feeling like giving up, when I'm driving here because I'm tired because I was up all night with my twins, when I go train with you and I'm like, man, I ain't with this, I literally have to say to myself, fuck good, be great.
Yay.
Fuck good, be great. You're good right now, but that ain't gonna lead you to your highest potential. You gotta be great. So it's important. I don't care if it sounds corny. All right. We say negative stuff about ourselves all the time. So we gotta replace that negative self-talk with the positive self-talk, speaking into ourselves. As you change internally, your external world will change as well. Now, with that being said, whoa, that was a full episode. We cooking. We cooking. I hope y'all ate. All right. We fed y'all some stuff. Now, none of this means nothing, right? Knowledge isn't power. Applied knowledge is power. So if anything on here resonated with you, if anything on here planted a seed, it's up to you to water that shit. You got to do something with that information. So thank y'all for vibing with us. This is the Hear Him Out show, a place for men to be heard where women are welcome to listen.
And our aim is to speak truth, add value, and offer a perspective that can lead to growth and elevation.
Ooh. With that being said, we love y'all. Thank y'all for vibing with us. Make sure y'all subscribe. Make sure you share, comment, all that good stuff. Until next time. Peace.